Hi, DeLa. Hi, Jinkx. First of all, this is a crazy time. How is it going for both of you while you're social distancing?
Well, it's a crazy time.
Yeah.
I think that, it's it has, I mean, obviously, we're in pretty privileged positions in that we have like roofs over our head and access to all the things we need. So within that swaddling of privilege, I have to say that there are some definite silver linings. I think that we're finding new and creative ways to it's in some ways it sort of reinvigorates you creatively to have to solve so many problems in terms of adapting live work and adapting as an artist to to doing things in solitude and digitally. I will say that for me there's a little bit of a blessing in that I have been trying to force myself to get off the road for years and like take a break. And now it's this sort of forced version. I keep calling this rehab for workaholics, which is really how it feels to me. It's like I'm forced to spend time actually like cooking and, being domestic, which is like difficult and also wonderful. So
I'm in an interesting situation because I already live with members of my chosen family. So there's actually 4 other people in this house with me right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, as I'm self-isolating, I'm also part of a commune, basically. And we've just become this little feral village that takes care of each other, and we don't really concern ourselves with those outside our borders. It's been very nice.
I'm still bewildered at the fact that I'm simultaneously out of work and also still working so much.
Yeah, because it's a bummer about all of the touring that is getting canceled, but you guys your schedules are so jam-packed. You're doing cameos, you're doing digital drag fest, you're doing this new podcast. So much is going on. How quickly did you turn this negative into a positive and kind of snap into that creative headspace?
Well, I'd say as soon as we were thrust into this situation, immediately, I think we're, both Jinkx and I and Peaches Christ and Major Scales, who are the other 2 folks involved in this radio show podcast project, I think all of us sort of immediately our gears started turning. We were all in the same place at the same time and our show got canceled. And Jinkx has been, Jinkx, I'll let you take it away talking about that.
We were in San Francisco rehearsing Drag Becomes Her, which is our drag parody of Death Becomes Her, with Peaches Christ. And the gig gets canceled and we all go out to dinner. And I think just like out of anxiety, we immediately started brainstorming ideas. And it was like the night our show got canceled, we immediately started talking about this radio show. And once we brought in Major Scales just kind of lit the fire under Peaches and DeLa and I, and really gave us kind of a clear aesthetic to build off of. And I think we just jumped right in because it was either that or be depressed. And we all just kind of boosted each other up and said, let's choose creation over depression.
Which is truly, I think, right? I mean, I don't think anybody's better suited to that than drag queens, because that's why we all do drag, right? It's like drag comes out of, an oppressed minority deciding that they're going to like sparkle and shine and be funny and fun in spite of, difficult situations. And so I think, we as queer performers, that's exactly what we do, is we get in a negative situation, we figure out how to turn it into something else.
Yeah, and Queer Quarantine Radio is so funny and fun. I was just cracking up listening to the first episode. How quickly did those ideas come together as for like what you wanted to parody and the characters, which are so colorful and fun?
I think the first thing that happened when we sort of started conceptualizing what the specific content would be was actually Major came in already with this sort of full concept for Peaches Christ, Private Paranormal Detective, which is our detective noir in the show. And he kind of launched in with such a sort of specific vision. And I think it inspired, that was part of what sort of lit this fire. I got really excited about the idea of doing one of these mid-century, sort of gimmick sitcoms, and Jinkx immediately had all of these elaborate ideas for this amazing murder mystery that turned into Darlington Mansion.
It just goes to show, we've been working together, this group, DeLa and Major and I have been working together for a decade. And Peaches and DeLa and Major and I have been working together for like 6 or 7 years now. And, when we formed this little group to create this thing, we just immediately supported each other's aesthetics and visions for it. And it doesn't take much conversation for us to all get on the same page. So it's been a really joyful experience to create something with people who are so like-minded and so open to the creative process with me.
That's so great that you guys have that. I'm curious, what's like the origin story of your friendship and collaborative partnership? How did it all start? Was there a moment?
It's lots of little instances throughout the last 11 years. But Major Scales and I went to college together, and we started collaborating then. I've been doing drag since I was 15, so I was already incorporating drag into the stuff Major and I would create. And as soon as we started working in Seattle, we were told constantly, the drag queen of Seattle was BenDeLaCreme. So when we finally met her, she loves telling this story, but we were performing for free.
Telling the story.
You were performing for free at a Starbucks at 4 p.m.
It was so this was like MySpace or something that I heard. I kept hearing about this drag queen who was like new on the scene, and there was something about the little bits and bobs I was hearing that really, I was like, I need to see this person in action. And she started posting about this show she was doing in the middle of the day, and my friend and I went into this Starbucks, and there were like 7 folding chairs and a keyboard, and we went and sat down, and Jinkx and Major proceeded to, in broad daylight, streaming through these windows with a bunch of like people placing latte orders in the background, blow us away. And I saw this performance, and I said, I need to work with these people. Like, I absolutely 100% want to, there's the two things that will happen are either we start working together and create beautiful magic, or we're like here in Seattle doing 2 separate versions of this kind of heightened work in competition with each other, which makes no sense. And so, so we started, I had a holiday show at the time, and I asked Jinkx if she wanted to be a guest star in it. And that was really the first time, I think, but then it just built from there.
DeLa's known for producing these big over-the-top drag spectaculars. So as soon as she wanted to work with Major and I, we knew we had to work with her. And then soon, post-Drag Race, Peaches Christ reached out to all of us to start working with her. And she's already like a living legend within the drag community. So we all just jumped at the chance to be, and so years of just saying yes to each other, now we're this little cohesive artist family.
You guys are all collaborating from separate places. I'm curious, what do you think that it would be like if you were all stuck in quarantine together?
Oh God, why would you even bring that image into my mind? That's more traumatic than this pandemic.
I think what's really wonderful right now is we're all doing drag on our own personal schedules. and if we all were in one space, our cycles wouldn't sync up correctly, and we'd all be fighting for dominance as the alpha queen. And it would end in someone's death or everyone's death.
And all of us actually live with other people who sort of are opposites in the way that they balance out our need to be the biggest, loudest thing in the room at all times. And so it's those living situations, I think, that that sort of help to get us through this time. We need to be tempered. And I think if we were all in the same room, it would really just continue to build. Yeah, it would be hard to stay home and stay safe. Hashtag stay home and stay safe.
Well, hopefully fans can get out and see you soon when it's like safe and like healthy too. In the meantime, when you guys aren't busy, what have you been up to at home? Are you binging any shows? And I'm also curious, have you caught up on this season of Drag Race?
I have not yet caught up on season 12 of Drag Race. But I will. I'm planning to binge the whole thing when it's done. You need to I'm a watch it all in one chunk. And actually, speaking of being behind on things, the show that I'm currently going berserk with is I never watched Sopranos, and I am binge watching The Sopranos now, and I'm so behind, but it's mind blowing. And yeah, so this has been a great opportunity to catch up on things that I missed in the past. And what's time anyway?
Yeah, really.
I've been keeping up with Drag Race. I've always been on tour while Drag Race is airing, and I've always had other drag queens to watch it with over the last few years, and it's really hard not to have that this time, because that's my favorite way to watch it, is with other queens.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't really been binging television as much as I've been playing video games for hours and hours on end. I'm currently playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where you're in ancient Greece and you're this badass female Spartan assassin. And so I smoke a joint and just do that for 4 hours, and that's half my day.
I can't think of anything better than that. Jinkx, do you have a favorite this season? Anyone you're rooting for?
Yeah, I really love Jackie Cox. I really love Heidi in Closet. And I think, I really am impressed and in awe of Gigi's run so far. She's really just kind of blown me away. But I haven't watched the last 2 episodes yet. So if she did something horrible, I'm sorry. I'm not caught up.
I actually have been friends with Jackie for a while. We and Jinkx as well. We've all worked together in the same theater in New York for a while. So I am very excited to see what she brings to it, because I think she's such a talented queen and such a sweet person.